Welcome back. Today we are testing the 900 Global Reality Check. If you like what we do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Patreon. Alright, first thoughts. The reality check is a big hooking piece that made a great impression, but trying to figure out its place in the bag. Alright, let's jump in. Right off the bat, the reality check impresses. In many ways, it defies its own paper stats. First off, this is a strong ball to be sure. I love that the disturbance core specs are almost identical from 16 to 14. It's a blocky shape that just works. It doesn't really hook stop like some big ASIMs do. It does roll somewhat forward, but continues really nicely. The core does a lot of work here. Nevertheless, we always talk about cover stocks and surface being king when it comes to ball reaction, and here is where it is somewhat defying. The 4K Fast is Storm's new factory finish when they used to use the 1500 grit polish. Like, for example, the new Zens come with a 4K Fast, and I could say I actually like it more that way as compared to the factory polish. That probably isn't a surprise given how often I've commented about disliking the shiny shelf of peel finish for its over-under characteristics. Anyway, I kind of expected this ball to be 900 Global's new shiny ASIM, if you will, that I can put in the mid-define category, but this ball doesn't clear the lanes like the way a mid-define ball should. Surprisingly, this ball wants to bite hard and mid-laney, which indicates it'll handle higher volumes than I expected. So while it's certainly angular enough to be indefined, it is somewhere in between the big strength of a strong define like the OG Reality and the mid-defined clearing the heads like an infinite Physix. Honestly, this ball reminds me a lot of the original Physix in a few ways. It hooks as much. It wasn't quite enough ball to cover the heaviest oil, just like the Physix, but wasn't clean enough to be medium volumes either. That also makes it versatile, fitting in this, in the kind of strong define minus or mid define plus. As you can see, this just doesn't look like a ball that quits. It has strong down lane motion all the time. You really have to throw it bad to get under reaction, and it carries well with open angles. Quick comparison to the Infinite Physix, and you can see the cleaner, longer, but smooth booming hook. Compared to the Zen, you can see that the Zen clears more easily, but also has a kind of heavier, tumbly look versus the decisive hook from the reality check. Finally, looking at the Zen Soul, which is similar in hook strength, but again has that heavy tumble look just earlier than the Zen. On a house shot, the Zen Soul and the reality check might be a little hard to separate. But you do see a little more of that symmetric continuation. Tyler's back as our power player tester. And he doesn't typically keep ASIMs in his bag, partly because the Idol series matches up so well for him. He does keep the original Rubicon, but that's a kind of controlled low asymmetry ball. With that said, the reality check looked great for him as well. He had a ton of continuation for an asymmetric ball. The reality check didn't really appear to have that what I would call very forward look off the end of the pattern until he tried to ask too much of it. Otherwise, it just felt like a very heavy, rolling, climbing piece. He found an easy home between the third and fourth arrow. He didn't struggle with getting length either. Just a nice little, almost benchmark simplicity about its look. Generally, didn't want to ask, too little or too much from it. Don't spray it way out wide, where it kind of starts to show off its asymmetric rollout, and don't tug it in as it is pretty strong. A quick look compared to the Infinite Physix, and again you can see the much easier length and deceptively smooth looking hook that doesn't, sometimes doesn't feel like it's going to make it back, but does. Alright, Brian is testing the 900 global reality check as well, and instantly he loved the ball reaction. Brian did not get on with the original physics, so I can say 100% this ball does not remind him of that. The reality check really gave him a great benchmark type ball motion. He saw a beautiful arc with punch that still drove through the pins. He had good area. He could play the more direct line, say 9 to 10 with a small belly. When he missed in, the ball held and struck. When he missed it to the outside, it didn't overreact. And while it didn't always strike from outside, it kept him safe more often than not. Obviously it's still a heavy rolling ball that can roll out. Brian struck a lot, and not much more to say besides what you see here. I mean, he did test the swing shot, but it didn't quite work as the reality check did seem to kind of stand up and stop. Tyler saw the same thing. If he swung it way too wide into the friction, that shot did work very well with the Idol Cosmos, for example, but not so much with the reality check. However, the reality check overall seemed like a fantastic benchmark for Brian. Okay, final thoughts. The 900 Global Reality Check looks like a ball that matched up with every tester style. No guarantees, of course, but that bodes well for this ball. I saw something that kind of overlaps a few spots, like strong define, mid define, and even strong control. Brian saw a benchmark ball, which puts it somewhere between strong control and mid control. Tyler wasn't far off either, seeing similar to what I saw. That versatility might be a little confusing for me in terms of a clear slot in the arsenal, but a great sign for a ball that can work for a lot of people in likely many different conditions.